Hey, good day to you. This is Stan Pierchoski with Pierchoski Estate Law, and this is the Ask Stan show every Thursday at 12 noon, where I answer all your estate planning questions submitted throughout the week. If you have a question about wills, trusts, Medicaid pre-planning, Medicaid crisis planning, the nursing home, or just estate planning in general, just send them to me here on Facebook or call me at 363-7222 or email me at pierchoskiestatelaw@gmail.com. I'll answer them live on WKSR Radio, and we post them here on the Ask Stan show every Thursday. So, let's get right to it.
Kind of hush, and with our oldie of the week. Now, folks ask me all the time, Stan, when Stan comes in, he heads to the donuts, don't he? I say, yeah, he's got a little routine he does. He kind of loops through the kitchen, checks on the donuts that Robert Brimley brings, gets him something to drink, and here he is.
Yep, I mean, I have to ask you a question. Does he just like old music, or does he like to buy himself 3 minutes to eat a donut? I don't know.
I'm sure your wife, Tammy, is listening, observing, checking on us this morning and everything.
She's with my daughter, who's pregnant, as you know, and so she has to be involved in that. So.
Well, all right, let's get started here.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So you have a seminar coming up. Why don't you tell us about it, when that is, and what's going on?
I do. Another one of my seminars. We don't do them as often now with what's going on in the world, so we have a little farther and few between. But have one coming up Tuesday, April the 20th. Going to do it over there at the sister station, WLX in Lawrenceburg, at the Country Cafe, right behind the radio station. They've got a nice venue there. We're doing it twice, one at 1 p.m., one at 6 p.m. And I really encourage people to come to that because a lot of folks will call and think, well, what's the catch? And what lawyer gives up some of his time and doesn't send you a bill for it? Or what's the catch? What are you gonna? Is it like gonna be like one of those dinners you go to and they lock you down and then try to get you to sign? There's nothing to it. No catch, no sales pitch, just education. We're going to talk about the name of it's called Wills, Trust, and the Nursing Home, and that's what we're going to talk about. What a will does, what a trust does, the difference between the two. How do you keep the nursing home from getting all your stuff? It's about an hour long. It's a pretty good seminar. It's just it's free. It's just educational. So come on. I'll even have some refreshments there for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. We'll talk. I'll answer any questions you have. It's entirely for you to get familiar with this process to see if it's something that fits your needs. So I want to talk about the estate planning process itself because that's how it starts out. What are the things that happen when we come to this meeting? Well, we kind of do our process in three basic components. First one's education, which is just what I'm talking about. When you come into the seminar or come in and meet me for a meeting, we talk about wills and trusts. And then if you decide you want to go forward, we end up with having 2 meetings that we meet with myself and my staff, and then we end up with what we call funding. So I want to talk about that. So first thing is you get one of my mailers or you hear me talking on the radio about one of the seminars. You call, you register for it. You just call, talk to Alex or Tammy or Courtney and RSVP. Then we have this seminar. We talk about these subjects. If you're interested in this sort of thing, you've been giving it some thought. If you can invest an hour to come listen, that's all it takes. Have a few refreshments, and then we have a live Q&A at the end of it. And if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and book an appointment with me.
All right, let me ask you this. What if after the seminar, someone says, I don't feel quite ready yet? How do you address that?
Hey, not quite ready? No problem. Go on home, think about it, talk it over with your loved ones. You might come up with some questions. If you do, call my office, book a phone call with me. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions, as many as you have. I want you to want to do it.
All right.
That's what this is all about. Once you understand what a trust plan will do for you, you don't need me to talk you into it. It sells itself. And like I always say in my seminars, I'm not here to talk you into anything, and I'm not here to talk you out of anything. If this is something you want and sounds good and fits your family dynamics, then you should do it. If not, hey, we'll still be friends. We can still talk about oldies and stuff like that, so no problem. So, if you're ready for the appointment, well, we'll book it for you, and we'll remind you it's coming. We'll give you the choice if you want some text messages, or we'll call you a day or two ahead of time. When we have this meeting, we give you a little pre-meeting package to prepare for. It's not much, but it's got a little bit about the firm, a little bit about me, information about why we're different from other law firms. And there's a little bit of homework in there for you too. And I want to talk briefly about the homework because it's not really, don't panic, it's not an exam or anything. Really, it's just basic information about you, your heirs, your spouse, a little list, general list of your real property, like your land, farm, family farm. Kind of a general understanding of what your stuff is, your personal property. And then it also asks you some thought-provoking questions about end-of-life decisions, end-of-life care, things like funeral home arrangements, health care directive, those sort of questions, things that you don't normally think of that are important in an estate plan. And this stuff is helpful to me because I can look it over pretty quickly and I can get right down to the type of plan that fits your situation. I often say, best way to start with an estate plan is you tell me how you think the ideal end of it would look like. And we'll kind of work it backwards and go from there. So this information is also helpful to you when you fill out this work. It prompts you to think about the things in a different way. Some of the ways you may not have ever considered before. So anyway, you fill that out ahead of time. You bring it in with you. We'll have some time to go over it. And that way, we get some questions that about things you hadn't thought about for a while, you will have given that just a little bit of thought. So then we have our meeting. It's called a family vision meeting, and it's just like it sounds. We talk about your family dynamics, specifically about you. We go over the information you put in that workbook. We discuss how you want your estate plan to work out, who the people in your life are, who your loved ones are, how you want them treated. It can last up to 2 hours. Usually an hour, sometimes to 2. This is 2 hours dedicated solely to you. If you're married, you really ought to have your significant other with you at the time, so that way all the thoughts and questions can be answered. So,
all right, Stan, a similar question earlier. Does booking the family vision meeting mean I'm committed to an estate plan?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, this is something that's very important to me that you go through with because you want to go through it. So everything up to now, there's no cost, entirely free. If we sit down and talk, for that 2 hours and, or halfway through it or something, you decide, you don't want to, it's not for you, no problem. Go home, think about it. That's fine. Like I said, if you've got to want it, I don't want to talk you into it. I want it to be something you say, listen, now that I know how it works, this is what I want to do. And that's 99% of my clients come to that conclusion. And that's their thought process is, once they realize the versatility and the many different things you can do with a trust plan, that's exactly what they want. So anyway, once the meeting's over, we'll set up a signing date, usually about 2 weeks out. That gives us time to prepare everything. And Alex in the office there will set it up for you and give you some reminders for that. But during that 2 weeks, what's going on, what we're doing is, we're building the trust. I'm drafting the documents. I'm using your information to memorialize these things into enforceable agreements. We're locating your deeds. We're locating, your properties because I'll do those and get them transferred into the trust for you. We'll schedule the notaries and the witnesses that will be there. And I'll be reaching out every now and then for missing information because inevitably there'll be something I need to call and ask about. What you're doing is, hey, you're just responding to any communications I bring. That's it. If I need something, I can call you and say, hey, what about this? You just respond to that. There's not much for you to do in that 2 week period. So after that, we end up at the signing. So you just show up at the meeting. I'll have everybody there. Some things need to be notarized. Some are witness, some are both. Those folks will be there. I'll go over every document. We have to sign. I'll explain it. You'll have a clear understanding what each and everything does. Signing process takes about an hour. I'll leave you with a real clear understanding of what to do next. And the thing we do next is what we call funding. Funding is really a simple thing. It's simply transferring ownership of property to the trust. I'll fund it with everything I can do without you, but there's a couple things like your bank account or your investment accounts that I can't put in there for you because you have to go sign. But I'll give you everything you need, and I'll give you the instructions on exactly what to expect. And if it doesn't go that way, you get me involved, and I'll go down to the bank with you, and we'll get it done. So, and we recommend you do that kind of, right away, so you don't forget.
All right, one more question we want to ask you this morning. What if something comes up and I don't get my bank account in the trust right away?
Well, we've got that taken care of, and here's why. First of all, fundamentally, funding is a very important process. We've seen a lot of trusts written back in the 90s where people wrote the trust, give them to the client, and then never speak to them again, and they didn't know to get stuff put in there. So to make it work, we got to fund it, and I'm just very OCD about that. And Alex, who's here filming today, she's the one. She'll call you and she'll say, "Hey, did you get your bank account into the trust? Did you do this?" And if your answer is no, I really hadn't got around to it. Well, we'll call you again in 30 days, and we will just keep calling you, and finally at some time we'll just. I'll just get you on the phone and say, look, let's take care of this. What do I need to do? I'll do it for you if you need me to. But it's that important. That's why we follow up on that. So if it doesn't happen right away, we've got you covered. So really, that's kind of the process from start to finish. You really have only got a couple hours invested in the whole thing. It's not as daunting as it sounds, but you could actually have a completed and funded trust plan in place for your family, in just a couple of weeks. So. That's it. So listen, take advantage of my time at this seminar coming up on April the 20th over at WLX the Country Cafe right behind the radio station. Take advantage of that. I mean, I offer this for educational purposes, and that's, come with questions. Don't feel like there's a catch. Don't feel like we're going to lock the room until you sign something. It's not like that at all. It's actually kind of fun. You got questions, I'll answer them. I've stayed there as late as 9, 10 o'clock answering questions. No problem. So call me over at my office, which is 363-7222, and RSVP for that. And like I said, if you've got thoughts about this and you want to know more, that's the place to start.
All right, very good. Stan Pierchoski Estate Law. Thank you, sir. Always look forward to seeing you every Thursday morning. And hope you have a great day and good luck with you. That is a good place over there at WLX or Country Cafe. That's a good social distancing, a lot of room there to have that.
It is, and I'm going to let this out, but I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody that I'm going to have a drawing there, like a door prize. I'm going to give dinner for 2 to one of the local restaurants, so that'll be pretty cool.
All right, brother. Sounds good. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Butch.
All right, we got